Long ago, in the ancient land of Bharata, where rivers flowed like silver threads and the forests whispered tales of valor, there ruled a king celebrated for his unwavering sense of justice and compassion. His name was Shibi, and his fame stretched far beyond the borders of his prosperous kingdom. The people loved him not for riches or conquest, but for his extraordinary dedication to Dharma, the code of righteousness that guided every action, every judgment, every word. King Shibi was known to be the protector of all who sought refuge in his domain. It was said that even the smallest and weakest creatures, if threatened, could rely upon the king's promise of safety. Such was his reputation that the gods themselves wished to test the depth of his virtue. Indra, the lord of the heavens, and Agni, the god of fire, devised a plan that would challenge Shibi's resolve and reveal the true extent of his nobility. One morning, as the king sat upon his throne, dispensing justice and wisdom to all who approached, a trembling dove burst into the royal court. Its wings fluttered in panic, and its tiny heart beat like a drum in its fragile chest. Without pausing, the dove flew straight to the king and landed upon his lap, seeking shelter from a danger that still lurked unseen. Mere moments later, a mighty hawk swooped into the court, its eyes blazing with hunger and predatory intent. The hawk was no ordinary bird. It was Indra himself, disguised. With a voice both commanding and sorrowful, the hawk addressed King Shibi. "O king, guardian of Dharma, that dove you cradle is my rightful prey. For days I have hunted, and now I am weak with hunger. By the laws of nature, I must feed. You, who uphold righteousness, must not deny me my sustenance. Will you break the order of the world to protect this dove?" The court fell silent, and every eye turned to the king. Shibi looked down at the trembling dove, whose eyes pleaded for mercy. Then he gazed upon the hawk, who stood for the natural order, the cycle of life and death that governed all creatures. King Shibi spoke, his voice calm but resolute. "I have sworn to protect all who seek refuge in my realm, regardless of their station. But I also recognize your right to live, noble hawk. If I deny you this meal, I must provide a just alternative. Tell me, what would suffice?" The hawk replied, "Give me flesh equal in weight to this dove, and I shall accept your offering." Without hesitation, King Shibi summoned his royal scales. He placed the dove upon one side, and with a steady hand, began to cut flesh from his own body to place upon the other. First, he removed a small piece, but the scales did not balance. Then another and another, each time with pain etched upon his brow, but without complaint. Yet no matter how much he gave, the scales remained uneven. The dove's weight seemed to grow heavier with every sacrifice. Day turned to dusk, and the king's advisors begged him to stop, to think of his own life, his family, his kingdom. But Shibi remained steadfast. At last, battered and bleeding, with nearly all his flesh upon the scales, he prepared to give his very life, offering himself entirely for the sake of the dove. It was then that the dove and the hawk revealed their true forms. Indra and Agni, now radiant in their divine glory, stood before the king. Their test complete, they spoke with voices that echoed through the hall. "Great King Shibi, your sacrifice has moved the heavens. Never before have we witnessed such devotion to Dharma, such selfless compassion. You have proven that true righteousness knows no bounds, and that the protection of the weak is the highest calling of a ruler." With a touch, the gods healed the king's wounds, restoring his body and strength. They blessed him with fame and prosperity, and promised that his name would endure for generations as a symbol of unyielding virtue. The story of King Shibi's sacrifice spread far and wide. In villages and cities, elders recounted the tale to children gathered around evening fires. They spoke of the day a king placed the welfare of a helpless creature above his own comfort, above his own life, and in doing so became immortal in the hearts of his people. The lesson of Shibi's sacrifice is one that transcends time and place. It teaches that true power lies not in domination or wealth, but in the courage to uphold justice and compassion, even when faced with impossible choices. It reminds us that the measure of a leader is not found in their victories, but in their willingness to suffer for what is right. In the Mahabharata, this episode stands as a beacon, illuminating the path of Dharma for all who seek it. It is not just a tale of kings and gods, but a call to every soul to look beyond their own needs and desires and to embrace the noble duty of protecting the vulnerable. Throughout his reign, King Shibi continued to embody these ideals. He ruled with wisdom and kindness, ensuring that his subjects, no matter how humble, felt secure and valued. His court became a sanctuary for those fleeing injustice, and his words carried the weight of lived truth. The people flourished under his care, and the kingdom became a model of harmony and prosperity. But above all, it was Shibi's example that endured. In moments of crisis, when leaders faced difficult choices, the story of Shibi inspired them to act with courage and compassion. The tale reminded them that the highest form of leadership is self-sacrifice, and that the heart of Dharma lies in serving others without thought of reward. And so, the legend of King Shibi's sacrifice echoes through the corridors of time. It is found in the songs of poets, in the teachings of sages, and in the hearts of those who strive to walk the path of righteousness. It stands as a testament to the power of empathy, the strength of conviction, and the enduring beauty of selflessness. In the end, King Shibi's story is much more than a narrative from a distant age. It is a living guide, a mirror in which we can see our own choices reflected. It asks us, when the moment comes to protect the weak, will we rise to the challenge? When faced with the demands of justice, will we place others before ourselves? Through the example of King Shibi, we learn that the true legacy of a life well lived is found not in what we possess, but in what we are willing to give. And so, as the sun sets over the ancient land and the stars begin to shimmer in the sky, the spirit of King Shibi endures. It whispers through the forests and the fields, calling each of us to embrace the highest ideals and to make the world a kinder, more just place for all.